Can you learn anything from going to the dentist? Definitely. And we'll explain what in this episode.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Side by Side Business Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Larry and this is Sue, and we're going to talk about going to the dentist.
Everybody's favorite pastime, right?
Well, and there's a backstory to this.
Absolutely.
And so we have to fill people in just a little bit here so that you'll understand really the lessons that we have learned recently from going to multiple dentists.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And this is primarily Sue's experience, but it is affected by my background because for 12 years, I worked at a dental office. And yeah, people hate going to the dentist, but I did it every single day for 12 years.
You did. And, one of the great benefits of you working at the dental office was that our kids were never afraid to go. That was true. Yeah. That was Dad's work, and they were never afraid to go there. And they were, anything they ever got done was done well. They were good practitioners there. And so.
Yeah. And so, part of it was that I worked for two different owners during that time. And it was about the halfway mark that the practice was sold to another dentist. And really just everything changed about the environment and the work situation, and
the personalities of the two dentists were completely different. Yeah. And their priorities were different, and that kind of thing.
And that's not the point of this. And I don't really want to go down into a spiraling situation of all of the
but that's going to affect the things you're going to talk about.
Yes, because the second dentist who bought the practice was very aggressive. The first dentist was pretty aggressive too, but but the techniques that we were told and encouraged to use, let me back up just a little bit here. I was on the business side of things. All right. So I'm not a hygienist. I'm not a dentist. I'm not an assistant. All right. None of that stuff. Right. I tried to avoid going back to the back where all the drills
the work
were going
was being
on.
done. That's right.
All right. So, what was kind of funny though, is that people would go to the back and spend a couple of hours having somebody work on their mouth. And then they come up front and then they talk to me and say, this is the painful part.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one who's asking them for the money. And I kind of oversaw that. I was the business manager. All right. So make sure we get that context as well. And so along the way, we became salespeople. I say we, the staff that worked at the front office. So the techniques that we used to schedule people, the techniques that we used to pressure people in to get dental work done
and sell them on what the dentist wanted to do and that type of thing.
And to, we did all kinds of financing options and just all of that type of stuff. It was just weird. It was odd to be in that spot where if we didn't close the deals enough, then we were getting in trouble as the front office staff, and I was the manager up there. So I would really be the one who would kind of get it. So sometimes it felt like manipulation or just kind of browbeating somebody to doing.
Well, and let's face it, it's when somebody has an issue with their mouth, especially if it's painful, they're kind of willing to do whatever they have to do to get it done. And so if they're in that position, it's pretty easy to sell them on pretty much anything. With the promise of it's going to go away.
Yes.
So,
but then we just added an extra layer of salesmanship on top of it, and just the pressure to close the deal. So, so that's kind of the background with things. Now, working there had a lot of benefits as well. One of the perks was that I got free dental work.
Yep.
Now, one of the downsides of that was I was getting free dental work, and so the hygienist didn't want to work on me.
Right.
I mean, they did. Don't get me wrong, but would they rather just like they had a cancellation? I'm like, hey, I'm way overdue for my cleaning, and they're like, I was really planning on taking a long lunch. And
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
okay, maybe next time in
Right.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then our family, we
Mm-hmm.
received a significant discount.
Yeah.
So you got a nice discount.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the kids got a nice
Yep.
discount.
They did. Mm-hmm.
And so that's all really well and good. But you know, the associate dentist
Mm-hmm.
had to work on us and the hygienist and such. And so to do that same work and you don't get paid as
Mm-hmm.
much, they're
Mm-hmm.
disincentivized
Right.
to do it.
Exactly. I mean, I would be too.
Yes.
I got to do the same work on you that I do on the previous patient, and I don't get paid for that, or I don't get paid as much for that. That is disincentivizing.
So here comes Sue through the door, and all the other spouses and stuff. But you know, just in our situation, you'd come through the door,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I didn't even realize, but you just didn't get treated real great.
No, I did not. Yeah, it was tough because it felt like they didn't like me. I think that's how I took it.
Yeah.
And so, but really, I think what was really going on was they were like frustrated that they had to treat me and deal with me and all that kind of thing.
And, you know, I said that like all the other spouses as well, really, there were not very many of the employees there who were married.
Oh, that's true. There were a lot of singles there.
And we were definitely the only family that had a bunch of kids.
Yes.
I think there may have been some families that had 1 or 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that we probably took the brunt of what we're talking about here because
there was a lot of benefit to our family.
So
yeah. So the paycheck wasn't the only benefit to that job.
Correct.
For sure.
Right. So we had those benefits, but they kind of came with whatever baggage that came with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I leave the dental office, and that's whatever 12 and a half years ago is we're recording this. And then, you know, I didn't want to go back. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like even though I left on good terms, it was weird to go back there. So, so now we're
and I definitely didn't look forward to going back there. I was like, yeah, I'd rather not. I'd rather go to a new place.
Right. And so we started looking for new places to go. And there were several associate dentists who had come through there. We had a big turnover there, but the associates would come in for a year or 2 or 3, and then they'd go off to build their own practice or be
because that was something at that practice that happened a lot, is that people would come there like fresh out of school and learn new techniques and things that they didn't get to learn at school. And then they would want to go and establish their own practice and do things their own way. So those were some of the people that we went to.
Yes, it made sense because
they knew us.
I sat in a little office with them, like when they were in between patients. I got to be good friends with all of them. They liked me because I was collecting money for them and helping their revenue stream and such. So I think there were 3, if I can think of that right, 3 of the associate dentists who went off to their own practices or whatever, and we've gone to each of those at various times. My experience has been fine. Whenever I come in, I'm like this hero almost. Like,
well, you're like a fellow insider, even though you're not at that office. They know that you know the technique, and
I know the terminology.
Terminology. That's what
they can use all the acronyms and such, and I get it. And, and so all that, you know, kind of, we kind of have the insider lingo and such.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting there is that I think sometimes they expected me to know that lingo too. And I didn't. And I'm the type of person that if you just explain exactly what's happening, I'm really good. And I can, you know, adjust and help if I need to, you know, whatever. I don't know if help is the right way, but you know, I can be a really good patient if I know exactly what's happening and if you'll explain it to me as you go. But they didn't explain things to me as they went. And a lot of times I still got that feeling from them a lot of times, like they were irritated with needing to treat me. And I'm like, I'm paying you in full for this one, you know?
No more discounts now.
Yeah. I think maybe I was just a reminder of that place that they didn't like to, they didn't like to remember having to, you know, treat me for less than previously.
And that's interesting because I think every time I've gone in, like even now, like all these years later, I still go to one of the associate dentist practice, and it's great. And and anytime that we talk, she'll bring it up to me, like the old place.
Yep.
So we kind of commiserate together a little
Right.
bit. We kind of weathered
About the
that storm
difficult
together.
things there
over the
and all that.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that you don't have that connection with them.
Nope.
So again, that's something we talk about a lot, about connection between married couples, but it applies obviously in a lot of other situations also. And so anyway, I don't know how much detail you want to go through, but just talk a little bit about the struggles that you've had, how you felt.
Oh, yeah. Well, for one thing, I avoided going to the dentist for a long time because of that type of thing. I had some pretty serious dental issues, even with the practice that you were working at. I don't know if I want to go into all the things, but there were several things that happened that were a little bit frustrating to me about my mouth. That didn't really necessarily have anything to do with like how I was treated. It was just my mouth, and I was frustrated, and nobody was explaining things to me. And so I kept thinking, what can I do different? And it was never said. And so I always got this impression that they thought that I was, I don't know, not doing a good job with my teeth or whatever. They never, accepted the things that I said. They would ask me questions and I would answer, and they would get the look on their face that says, I don't believe you, and I would think, why would you not believe me? But
well, among other things, I do remember a time where somebody said something to you about, are you going to get, whatever this done, something that needs to be done. And you've had that on your treatment plan for like 3 years. And you're like, nobody has ever said anything to me.
Oh, okay. We have to explain that for real.
Yes.
Because that happened. You're the one who told me. I don't know if you remember this.
I don't remember.
I had gone in for a cleaning at the office that you worked at. So this is when you were working. And that evening, you were telling me about the morning meeting where you were talking about the patients that were going to come through. And you very casually said something about, and that filling that you need to get done. And I said, what? And he said, well, that filling that you need to get done, it's been on your plan for like 18 months. I said, nobody ever told me I needed a filling done. It was like that level of, we're not explaining things to you. That got overlooked for 18 months. And so that turned into, instead of a simple little filling, it was a big, hairy ordeal filling. And it became, I'm still having troubles with that tooth today. So many, many years later, I still have issues with that because of that type of thing that happened.
Okay. So I think that's a pretty good background and summary and just the kind of getting us to this point. What should have been a huge benefit for us turned into just a real frustration.
For me. Yeah. I still think you had a decent care and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, I think I was getting yelled at because you weren't getting the work done, but I don't know. Anyway, so
I can't schedule it if I don't know it needs to happen, right?
But let's move to the lessons now.
Yes,
all right. So
the lessons.
I think I think people probably get this because
I just went to a new dentist yesterday.
You did, yes.
And I went because I have another issue.
Wait a minute, was this anybody that we have ever met before?
I did not know this dentist. So about 6 months ago, I started, well, it might have been longer than that. I started sharing with some of the people at church that I would like to find a new dentist. The one I was going to, it was a former associate and was far away from home. And I thought if I could find one that's closer to home, that would be better. I have grown to kind of detest going to the dentist. I don't have a lot of fear, but I have a lot of, I don't like it. And so several people recommended a particular dentist to me close by. I thought, well, okay, I'm going to go give this person a try. I don't know that dentist. I don't know anyone in the office. So when I walked in, I was a stranger to them.
You did not mention that I used to work for a dentist. I did not
mention that you used to work for a dentist. And the difference between that and how I had been experiencing dental visits for the last several years was night and day.
Yeah.
I walked in, and to them, I was a stranger, but I was a new patient. And they were happy to see me because I'm a new client, and they're going to, they're going to be able to treat me, and they're going to be able to make money off of me for sure, which is, why they're in business.
Legit.
It's totally legit. And so I walked in, and they were happy to greet me. They, through the whole thing, the assistant was explaining every step she was taking. And so I knew exactly what was coming. And then there were a couple things that she was explaining to me, a certain type of x-ray she was going to do. And she was explaining what, and I said, oh, a panel, right? And she said, oh yeah, and so she wasn't expecting me to know the lingo. And so that was really nice. The dentist came in, did the exam, looked at my problem tooth that I'm there for, and just was kind and explained things very thoroughly to me. Smiled, was happy to see me.
Complimented you on how you care for your teeth.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in 30 years. So anyway, maybe less, but anyway, that was something that just I left there thinking, oh my word, that was like the best visit I've ever had at the dental office. Kind of sad that I had to go to a place where I was a stranger to get that kind of treatment, but also it reassured me that, oh, I'm not, what I've been thinking isn't wrong.
Yeah. So. And then even like I was in the room with you whenever you had to call them to reschedule something or whatever. Yeah. And you said your name and they're like, oh yes, good to talk to you. Or, we just saw you here. She said something like, really,
she recognized my voice and my name. And like, oh yeah, we were just talking. So that was really neat. And they were encouraging. The dentist said nice things to me about, the way things were in my mouth, which I was kind of nervous about because frankly, I've been putting off, regular things because I didn't like to go. So,
nobody loves going to the dentist.
Right.
But, the dentist office can make things much less painful than what they need, what they many times are. But so there's some takeaways here that we can apply to married entrepreneurs. And I would just kind of start with, we do have a tendency, all of us, to take people for granted, the ones who are closest to us.
Yes.
What is that? The old kind of comical song was, you only hurt the ones you love.
Yeah.
And there's just some sad reality to that in a marriage relationship, getting really specific on that sometimes we can just take our spouse for granted. We take for granted, like I can really easily take for granted the fact that you wash all of our clothes. You do all that laundry and you have done that for years.
Almost 36.
And then my whole role is that I take my stuff and I put it away.
Yes, which I'm glad you do that.
Just about the least I could possibly do in this situation. Sometimes I'll fold some towels.
Yes.
And put those away.
That's true.
I'm stretching here, trying to find something that I help with here. But
you do outside jobs. I don't think I've ever mowed the lawn.
True. No, that's probably true.
I don't think ever. In the whole time we've been married, have I mowed the lawn?
Well, we've got kids also that I train on that and such.
That's true.
And I am cooking more often now.
Yes. Oh,
so
glorious. Yes.
But it's so easy to take for granted the ones who are closest to us. So I just encourage you right now, take this lesson from the dental office. Do not take people for granted that are close to you. Don't take your spouse for granted. So if there's something that your husband or your wife does for you on a regular basis, acknowledge that. Leave a little thank you note, a little sticky note. Doesn't have to be much. Just like, thank you for mowing the grass. Thank you for doing my laundry. That type of thing can be super helpful. What are some other takeaways that you're thinking?
Talking about that, I was a stranger walking into that dental office, and it made me think about, like, how do we greet people for the first time that we're meeting for the first time? It's usually with a smile and maybe a handshake, maybe a hug, depending on what kind of church you go to. And, when we meet people, we are like open and friendly with them. And, we want to, we're exploring a new relationship maybe. And so we're friendly and kind and nice. How do you respond when your spouse walks in the door? Is it less than that? Oh my word. This is a person that you said you wanted to live the rest of your life with. You should treat them at least.
I don't have any clean socks. Come on. Where have you been all day?
Yes. Yeah. And so you should at least treat them as well as you treat a stranger. I mean, it should go beyond that, but at least that well. If you're not even treating them as well as you treat somebody that you just met, you could make some improvements on what you're doing.
Oh man, I remember whenever I was working the day job and when I would come home, the kids would be jumping up and down and they'd just start chanting, "Daddy home, daddy home, daddy home, daddy home." And that welcome was amazing. And I looked forward to that. And now I don't even get like a nod from my it's like, "Hello, do you see me? I just walked in."
Well, he's 19, so he's cool.
He's very cool. Yes.
All right. So that's how we should treat our spouse.
Yes.
Talking about in the marriage and in the family. But of course, we're talking to married entrepreneurs. Yes. So some of these things are going to, a lot of what we talked about today is also going to apply in your business.
Right. So depending on the business, like if you've got a brick and mortar, then obviously when that customer walks through the door, they should feel that same welcome, that same greeting. Yeah. Again, don't necessarily just walk up to a new customer and start hugging them.
That's for church.
I'm running out. But so many offices that I go into, whatever store it may be, it's like the employees are just like, "Oh, did that guy see me? I'm afraid he's going to ask me a question or whatever." And so we want to treat our customers well. In our experience on e-commerce, sometimes depending on the platform, it was really difficult. The big platforms, they want to control that interaction. And so you really couldn't have any sort of a relationship. And it's a huge downfall. Now, a site like eBay allows you to do a lot more.
Right.
And so we write personal notes.
I think that's why I like eBay so much, because I can interact with our customers a little bit more intimately. I like it.
And there's more of an opportunity for repeat customers. Depends on your inventory. Our inventory is so kind of random that we don't necessarily have repeat customers, but we'll get positive feedback based upon that note that you send.
People like that. They like a little handwritten note. They like to feel like, I sign our name. So that, this is a person. This isn't, some entity that is faceless. They don't necessarily know our face, but they know you're real people. And so that's nice.
Yes. So we can definitely apply these type of things. Another component to that was you mentioned just having an understanding of what was happening throughout the process at the dental office. But prior to that, nobody would really explain anything to you. They made all kinds of assumptions
that I already knew
and so that's the other thing is we shouldn't make assumptions. We should over explain to people sometimes, and give people credit, but at some level, maybe a little bit extra explanation than what you initially think you need is probably somewhere that sweet spot. Or even asking, do you want me to explain like our process a little bit more here?
Right.
Again, this is so general because it depends on your business and the business structure. But just not assuming that people know exactly what's going on is another lesson to be learned here. So
absolutely.
Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
I want to just address this Bible verse from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. It says, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." I think that's a really cool thing for us to keep in mind. And so we're applying this to our marriage relationship and to our business, but we see how this impacts everything we do. Going to the dental office, walking into a store, going to church, being part of the church and have somebody else come in. Just all of those type of things. We need to be thoughtful as
when
to
your
how
kids are dating somebody new. We're starting to experience that too.
So that's a whole nother episode. But
but that same treatment should happen.
Absolutely. So I think that's a pretty decent summary of hopefully there's some takeaways here for married couples, for business owners, that you'll just see just the relevance and the importance of just everyday interaction and just common courtesy towards people and respect.
Absolutely. Start at home, go from there.
That's a good way to do it with everything.
Yes.
They take these principles, apply them to your home, and then it expands from there. So, all right. Well, I hope that you got some good information from this and it's something that you can apply in your life even today. And so I hope you will take this information and go build your dream business.
Side by side.
Take care.
See ya.